By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yeah, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song. And they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, Sing us one of the songs of Zion. These are the first verses of the 137th Psalm. It was more than 2.5 millennia ago that the Israelites were forcibly dislocated. Today, millions of humans are flying violence, unbearable conditions in their home country while looking for freedom from a precarious life. As I was contemplating Christ in dislocation, my mind quickly turned from the story of the Israelites in Babylonian captivity to the forced dislocation of our Black brothers and sisters in this country during the age of slavery. Their flight from the South and to the faith story of fugitive slaves and free Blacks in Pittsburgh 200 years ago. The first group of Black residents in our city, probably around 1808, formed their own church, many of them Methodist, Presbyterian, or Episcopalian. They often had adopted the religion affiliated with their masters by force or circumstance. They had to meet in people's homes because congregating in a church building would have made many of them targets for fugitive slave hunters. 10 years later, African Methodist Episcopalian Church, AME Church for short, was founded in Philadelphia. This step by their Methodist founders, Richard Allen and Absalom Jones, was a response to the fierce discrimination they had faced in the Methodist Church of the time, of which we, as members of the United Methodist Church today, are actually the descendants. And so those initially unaffiliated congregations in Pittsburgh were ready to join this new denomination. In 1818, Pittsburgh's first Black church became Bethel AME, named after Mother Bethel in Philadelphia, the church of the founders. The building that they had acquired in 1830 was destroyed by fire in 1845, a calamity that our own congregation also experienced in the 19th century. Finally, in 1906, that is 13 years after our own beautiful church building was set in stone, their new Romanesque church was erected as the third building owned by Bethel AME. And just like the temple for the Israelites was their spiritual center, their beacon of hope in a time of adversity, Bethel AME was a cornerstone of Black spiritual life, but also a valuable asset on the Underground Railroad and later a leader in the civil rights movement. Bethel AME at Wiley Avenue and Elm Street would stand for only just over 50 years. White urban redevelopment sacrificed this temple of Black faith and civic life for the new civic arena in 1957. On Juneteenth 2021, in the parking lot that is currently at the site of the former Bethel AME building, a worship service was held to commemorate this history and to start reflection on how to go forward. Comparing the compensation Bethel AME received with the endowment that First Church called its own after it sold the downtown plot of the former church, it paints a stark picture of white privilege. Psalm 137 ends with a prophecy of violent revenge and revels in the expected destruction of Babylon, the adversary. This image of God as a violent judge and executioner is not what we assume. The Christian view of God is that of compassion, love, and forgiveness. Let us together think about what that could mean.